She said she needed space, but not from me, just from life. That's how she worded it. She was going through something. Her eyes were glassy when she said it, her arms crossed like she was holding herself together. And I believed her. God, I really believed her. I didn't push. I didn't question it. I told her I'd be here. That if she needed time, she could take all the time in the world. I'd hold down the fort. That's what you do when you love someone, right? You make room for their storms, even if it means standing outside in the rain by yourself. She said she was going to a retreat. A silent one. Somewhere in the woods, with no phones, no internet, no noise. Just journaling, yoga, breath work. Healing. She needed healing. That's what she said? So I drove her there. Loaded her bags into the trunk, kissed her goodbye, told her I'd be counting the days. She kissed me back, slow, like she was saying more than words could hold. Then she walked inside, and I didn't hear from her for 9 days. And on day 10, she came back, different. She was quiet, which made sense. Silent retreat and all. But it wasn't a peaceful kind of quiet, it was guarded. Like she was filtering everything before she said it. We didn't talk much the first night. She said she was tired. The second night, she stayed at her place. Third night, she said she had a lot to process. By the fourth night, I started asking questions. That's when things cracked. Did something happen there? She paused. Looked at me like I'd stepped on sacred ground. Not everything has to be about you, you know. I froze. That wasn't her. Or maybe it was. Maybe this was who she became when I wasn't there to see it. I tried again. I just want to understand. You feel far. Because I am far, okay? I went away for a reason. I'm trying to figure things out. Figure what out? Us? She didn't answer. Just stared at the wall like it had more compassion than I did. Over the next week, she withdrew completely. Texts dried up. Calls went unanswered. She didn't ghost me, not technically. She just became unreachable in a way that made me feel like chasing her would only prove her point, that I didn't understand what she needed. Then one night she called. Her voice was calm. Too calm. We should talk. I drove to her place expecting a breakup. What I didn't expect was a confession. I'm pregnant. The room stopped breathing. Okay, I said before I even processed it. We'll figure it out. I'm here. She shook her head. It's not yours. And just like that, the floor vanished. She met him at the retreat. A guy who saw her. That's what she said? They connected over stillness. Over pain. Over whatever bullshit excuse people use when they want to romanticize betrayal. It just happened, she said. No, I replied. It doesn't just happen. She got defensive. Told me I was making it about me again. Said I was being reactive. That I didn't know what it was like to feel completely lost, and then finally found. She framed it like a healing experience. Like getting pregnant by a stranger, while I sat at home waiting was part of her self-discovery journey. And the worst part? She wanted me to be happy for her. She said she hoped I could support her through this. I didn't yell. I didn't throw anything. I just stared at the person I thought I knew and realized she was gone. Maybe she'd been gone long before the retreat. I stood up. My hands were shaking, but I kept them in my pockets. I hope he's everything you think he is. I really do. Because you just lost the one person who would have stayed, no matter how dark it got. She didn't cry. She didn't chase me. She just nodded. And that was it. The door didn't slam when I left. It clicked. Quiet. Final. That night I sat in my car for 2 hours. I didn't drive. I didn't scream. I just sat there, trying to feel something other than numb. The healing didn't come fast. I didn't wake up the next day feeling empowered. It took weeks to stop checking her social media. Months to stop blaming myself. But I got there. And now? I'm okay. Not perfect. Not fully healed. But okay. Because some people don't go on retreats to find themselves. They go to lose the parts of them that ever cared about someone like you. It's funny how your body moves through routines even when your soul's dragging behind. Wake up. Shower. Eat. Work. Sleep. Repeat. For a while, I lived like a placeholder in my own life, just enough motion to not get swallowed by stillness, but no real direction. Friends asked about her. I gave them the short version. Some nodded in sympathy, others just looked away like heartbreak was contagious. No one said what I really needed to hear, that it was okay to feel completely wrecked even if she didn't hit me, scream at me, or officially dump me. Because betrayal wears different clothes, it doesn't always look like a car crash. Sometimes it just looks like silence, secrets, and a half-truth delivered too calmly. One night I got a message from her. A photo. No words. Just a blurry image of a journal page. I squinted at it. Lines and lines of looping cursive, something about acceptance, grief, identity. At the bottom. I didn't mean to hurt you. I hope one day you understand. I didn't reply. Not out of anger. But because there was nothing left to say. She made her choice. And I was done auditioning for a role in her next phase of healing. But here's the part people don't talk about, what happens after you let go. Not the dramatic letting go. The quiet one. The kind where you sit alone on a Tuesday night, and realize you haven't thought about her all day. And then it hits you, that's healing. Not fireworks. Just absence. I started writing again. Not about her. About me. About things I'd forgotten I loved, architecture, road trips, live jazz. I took a trip by myself, rented a car, drove up the coast without GPS, got lost on purpose. Slept in cheap motels. Ate gas station food and watched sunsets through cracked windows. It didn't fix anything. But it reminded me I was still alive. One morning, months later, I saw her. At a bookstore of all places. She was with him. The retreat guy. They were holding hands. She saw me too. Her smile faltered, just slightly. He didn't notice. She mouthed something I couldn't hear. I nodded. Kept walking. Because now I finally understood the difference between closure and control. She wanted closure on her terms. But I'd already closed that door. Quiet. Final. And this time, it didn't just click. It locked. I'm not bitter. I don't wish her pain. But I won't romanticize it either. She made her choices. And I finally made mine. To choose peace. To stop trying to be someone's healing arc. To live a life that doesn't apologize for wanting to be loved back in full. And every time I feel that old ache rising, I remind myself. She wasn't going through something. She was going somewhere else. And I'm not waiting at the door anymore. It took me almost a year to trust someone again. Not because every woman reminded me of her. But because I reminded myself of who I used to be, the guy who waited. The guy who believed without evidence. Who accepted emotional breadcrumbs like they were a feast. That version of me? He's dead. And honestly, I don't even miss him. Healing wasn't loud. It was subtle. A quiet refusal to be less than I deserved. A slow rebuild of things I once gave away for free. Time, energy, loyalty. I kept those to myself for a while. Not out of spite. But out of survival. Then came Ava. We met in the most unromantic way possible. Mutual friends, bad lighting, a crowded house party. She bumped into me with her elbow while reaching for nachos. That was it. No sparks. Just eye contact. But it was clean. Steady. She didn't blink first. She wasn't flashy. She didn't try too hard. She didn't offer a curated version of herself. And maybe that's why I noticed her. We talked for 3 hours straight, sitting on the staircase while everyone else got drunk around us. She told me about her brother's motorcycle accident, about the dog she rescued and kept even though her landlord said no. She didn't ask about my ex. She asked about me. What made me laugh? What kind of music I listened to when I drove alone? She made it easy. That scared the hell out of me. We took things slow. No declarations. No expectations. Just space to show up. And week by week I did. There was one night, 3 months in, where I felt the old fear creeping back. We were in her apartment. She was brushing her teeth and humming off-key to some song I didn't recognize. I looked at her, and this voice inside me whispered, "What if she leaves too?" I must have gone quiet because she noticed. "Where'd you go just now?" I hesitated. Then, for the first time, I told someone the full story. The retreat. The pregnancy. The goodbye that didn't come with closure. Ava didn't gasp. She didn't play therapist. She didn't give me some Pinterest quote about forgiveness. She just stepped closer, rested her forehead against mine, and said, "You didn't deserve that. And you don't have to keep bleeding from wounds someone else refused to treat." And just like that, something shifted. With her, I wasn't performing. I wasn't trying to be chosen. I was just allowed. We started building routines. Sunday morning coffees. Wednesday night thrift store runs. Grocery shopping like it was a date. And somewhere between all that ordinariness, I realized I'd stopped measuring her by the damage someone else did. The past didn't disappear. But it stopped driving the car. Then came the letter. Not from Ava. From my ex. It arrived in the mail, handwritten, sealed with a stamp, no return address. I stared at it for hours before opening it. It was 5 pages long. A stream of confessions, rationalizations, apologies. She talked about postpartum depression. About the guy from the retreat who turned out to be nothing like she imagined. About how she missed the version of herself she was when she was with me. And at the end, "You probably hate me. I'd understand if you do. I just needed you to know, I still think about you. Every day." I folded the letter and put it in a drawer. I didn't feel hate. I didn't feel much at all. Because the version of her she missed? He doesn't exist anymore. I buried him somewhere between that bookstore and the night I watched Ava laugh so hard she choked on her wine. You can grieve someone without wanting them back. And you can forgive someone without letting them return. Ava never asked to read the letter. She saw it on the counter and didn't pry. That night, I held her hand a little tighter. Not because I was afraid. But because I wasn't. One morning, months later, I got up early and made us breakfast. She walked into the kitchen half asleep, hair a mess, wearing one of my shirts. I looked at her, and for the first time since everything, I felt something I hadn't in years. Safe. That's what love's supposed to feel like. Not a gamble. Not a riddle. Not a retreat into silence. But steady, clear, present. And if you're lucky? Redemptive. So this is my last page on her. Not Ava, the other one. The ghost I kept trying to resurrect through pain. She told me she was going through something. And she was. But I was going through something too. And this is me, coming out the other side.